Hello guys and welcome to TFT World Set 10, Day 2, Game number 5. Enjoy!
Yeah, I was about to ask you, David. I was about to say, hey, what spatulas, what emblems are we looking to craft early on in this game? But I know for Genizar, just trying to find that belt, go for the Heartsteel emblem, trying to get that 5 Heartsteel online as fast as possible.
Yeah, Skipper's in this lobby, I'm sure looking jealously on at a start this damn good. Of course, we're keeping an eye out for anyone players who do slam in early on. It's worth noting as well, we've got several players in this lobby who will just be playing for placement. Cheche and Jed, you saw, they're the ones who've really got the biggest swings coming out of this game again.
And ZUA, of course, the player that just needs a consistent result with Scapeus being already maybe a foot in to that day 3. There will be, of course, just a lot of results in terms of your confidence coming these next 2 games. Edwards are especially, I think, if he's in contention, that means he had a fairly good result in Game 4, which is always going to be relevant in terms of your confidence and your mentality going into these last 2 games. Are you a favorite to do it? Do you have, the clutch that you need to have in a moment like this with so much at stake?
And I want to call out another player. So much at stake, right, Cheche? Looking at the side here, noticing that he also has a Cassante, very likely Heartsteel, and he's also playing 8-bit on his board early to try and get stacks, because Riven is another out when you want to play for first place.
Yeah, we know the spatulas will make that very realistic. Our first augments coming in will be Silver. We've already got some interesting ones coming in, switching gears from ZUA. Kringtan going for the Silver Spoon.
Maybe a risky start for Cheche. 2 Econ augments available. 1 has been rolled. AFK is now there. His bench looks, we'll see if his bench is empty or not in terms of what the good position is for it. Keepers, a little bit too centered on Disco, which we know is not a comp you really want to go for when you want a big result in this Game 5.
AFK to swing for the fences potentially as that option, right? Especially if it is that, Heartsteel Cassante in, you don't really need to get it online. We do see the take. He's still going to be able to get a little bit of stacking going for the 8-bit. It's not going to be significant, but it is something.
No, absolutely. And it's only keeping that option open for later on. Do notice as well, the duplicates have been picked up by Ugol and Eggy to try and go for a little bit of early power. Ugol in particular picking up the early Annie 2.
Another player looking towards that Riven already has one on the board. That's going to be Mai, and playing around this Corki headliner, just trying to get the early stack. So it does feel like that line could be contested.
And Cheche here with a spatula start is open to 2 different things with AFK, with probably a high chance of having Prio on the first carousel, maybe going for the Heartsteel emblem to really capitalize on that first Wraith playstyle, or maybe trying to angle towards 8-bit, has it right now on his board with Garen and Corki. Could lean into the Riven instead as his maybe ticket out of here in terms of the Game 5.
Yeah, and with Riven being potentially contested, I'm wondering if we instead see true damage because of how high Senna has actually been for that first place rate as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm fascinated to see how this one develops. Skipper's, of course, somewhat in his element here to manage to put together balls which just don't make any sense under other circumstances. KDA and the red buff slammed in early on. He's chosen his lane.
I'd say very much in his element. He played 3 games of KDA yesterday with the Ahri and the Akali, so I think he's going to be going down that tempo route. Could still, of course, be rerolling for something because Seraphine has 1 currently on his board, and the red buff already slammed.
Yeah, can just play to tempo this out, but we've also seen Scapeus go for those late games, and I think one thing for Scapeus is looking around. I don't think KDA looked contested whatsoever. We saw a lot of players looking towards Riven, maybe some true damage angles, so this could just be a very open lane for Scapeus to just tap it in, make sure he locks in that top 8.
He has got the duplicator as well to push in a little bit of early power. Sonny's doing pretty well to start off with. We'll keep scouting around and finding out what else is in play. Of course, we mentioned before, Cheche with the AFK. See how much damage he takes before he gets the cash.
Overall, very little combat strength in terms of the augment for this stage 2, so players like Scapeus can benefit off of that, maybe try and make this a 5 win streak instead. We see, of course, a Laden Forge for Mai. We see 2 of those duplicators that won't do anything until you're trying to chase that 3-star. And similar for Cheche, who is just away from his keyboard for the start of the stage 2, not predicted to win many fights.
All right, the other player that I'm kind of looking at is going to be that ZUA playing switching gears and trying to make sure that he's optimizing that. We see him on a 2 loss streak, so he's already not getting perfect value.
No, but if he can turn that around and start switching back and forth, that's a massive amount of money coming towards him. Of course, with our players playing a little bit weaker boards, perhaps it'll be a little bit harder to predict. Skipper's, we're going to keep his win streak going. We can see the Olaf is doing just Olaf things, knocks down the Vi and keeps the streak intact.
Looking to spat commitments, KDA for Scapeus, we see for Eggy the pentakill. ZUA already has the Heartsteel emblem locked in and has both the set and the Cassante as well. Maybe hoping to find a Yone. He is going to be first pick here in the end. Cheche, despite the AFK, his 3rd pick in the carousel will not have Prio over signing something like the belt. And there's only a singular belt here for someone that wants to have that Heartsteel emblem start.
Look at this, 5 of the spatulas not yet committed, so a lot of potential pickups here to try and pair with your spatula and start moving towards some direction even early on in this game.
Can't find it.
Doesn't
Not
quite
the
get
belt.
there. Yeah, now he's stuck just trying to grab another item to just go with he's got on his bench. Ends up grabbing that chain vest.
Oh boy, I'm really looking forward to seeing, as particularly you mentioned, whether the 8-bit comes through and manifests most strongly. Mai, of course, will our player who's managed to find that early approach into that. ZUA, though, with the Moshers, remember, this is the ball that's trying to switch backwards and forwards between wins and losses. 3 gold at stake every round for managing to navigate through the lobby perfectly.
A duplicator as well here for the US. So really looking at a crazy late game. We saw it already in game 4, maybe trying to, again, not with clear mind, but with switching gears, get to that same position with that econ start he's going to have in this stage 2. For Scapeus picks up a second tier, has a blue buff that he could be slamming if he wants to think about playing more for a tempo KDA line with the Ahri.
Yeah, looking at this, it feels like a lot of players are actually playing very low tempo across this lobby. We're going to see players like Scapeus be able to hold on to the win streak for quite some time heading into this fight. There's 2 streakers, still Qingqian and Scapeus. On the bottom side, I think ZUA actually wants to lose this. Did not weaken their board, however, and still going to have a very close fight. It's possible the Vi can actually still carry this through.
Yeah, I think just, the only thing he really could do, and he did do, which was shoving the Vi in the corner for a tiny bit less DPS. But even the slam, the Hextech Gunblade, is close, but Ryue gets robbed of 3 gold. Not going to be too happy.
Actually, really notable, by putting the Heartsteel emblem onto the Vi, he's now not allowing himself to actually take out his headliner to weaken after he finds a win, which is usually how you see people play switching gears to get optimal value. So maybe a little bit of a misstep there from ZUA by slamming it there instead of on the Gnar in that composition.
Qingqian right now, Angling Disco should and could just be the opener for now. Maybe a Lux reroll if he's feeling very spicy, but we haven't seen that a single time yet on the world stage. That would be a treat, though.
That was the time.
Cool.
That was the time. Silver Spoon so it allows him access to those bigger comps earlier on. As we do notice, we have got some stakes being raised.
And Casantes has been a bad boy. He's jailed in the start of that round in the top left corner, now finally released. Can he win the round by himself? The answer is most likely no.
Absolutely not. Yeah, on the other side, though, ZUA actually able to get some value here out of the switching gears, so that's going to be solid for him as well.
And Scapeus, as predicted, locks in that 5 win streak. A great start for a player that loves playing from ahead in the early game. He talked about on the top of show during the interview, slamming items, finding ways to preserve HP early.
Yep, so him and Qingqian will both keep their streaks intact. Mai and Ugol down at the bottom with their lost streaks, but overall a decent amount of gold in the lobby, but spread between most of our players.
Yeah, a lot of times we end up seeing these kind of bigger 3-1 roll downs, and I'm curious if players are going to continue to be greedy in this lobby and keep the tempo slow, or if we'll see players like Scapeus start hitting people too hard and we actually accelerating the tempo for everybody, because a lot of players are seeming to want to play very greedy in this game.
What kind of units are dropped from these orbs? Scapeus maybe trying to work around, as always, what the game gives him, trying to adapt around it. With a blue buff slam, we could maybe also see a Lulu reroll game. He played a lot of Lulu at EMEA Finals, the comp he really likes. Even won games outright with Lulu in the right conditions. We'll see if this game could be one of those. But Cheche, a lot of components to work with, a lot of gold to work with as well, thanks to that AFK. And now the 3 Heartsteel is online with Casante, trying his best to hold the fort and maybe kill off some units in each of these losses.
Honestly, I think Cheche is stacked up way more 8-bit than I anticipated. It's still not a ton, but considering it was AFK, I just didn't expect there to be much there at all. He does have the bow open, so 8-bit is very available for Cheche, and the rest of his items actually can go in that direction, right? You have Tier and the glove to make Hodge. You have the ability to go for an Edge of Night, or you can still move those around and create some even better items for the Riven.
No, I would absolutely love to see. The only problem is Mai has already got a couple of Rivens in his team already, so it will be a little bit tougher to get through. But I have to imagine they could have expected that, given that we know how powerful 8-bit can be as a full vertical.
I think having the plan B is always an option between Heartsteel and just playing for Riven. Reroll, I think, at 3-5, that's a real deciding point. Especially with Cheche's gold lead, he can roll down at 3-5 instead of 4-1. Maybe even ignore the contest and say, hey, I'm rolling before you. I have more gold lead because of AFK. I'm going to try and roll for this instead. This augment could be really important as well. You want huge combat strength both for Heartsteel and Riven in the case of Cheche. Finds the heavy hitters, but is that the best option?
Yeah, still considering bulk as well. That can just be a solid pickup for that anyways. Martyr, one of the best gold augments, and that's just going to be a snap lock in for Cheche.
Do notice up at the top middle, we have got a last stand being locked into place. Very much, of course, that's our Heartsteel player with the Heartsteel emblem. Of course, a potent combination which speaks to a top finish.
Scapeus picking up Remember Your Roots when you've got an emblem like KDA that you can actually play on your carry, it ends up being incredibly strong because now you've added an additional trait that does get the bonus. So now, right now, playing around Misfortune, but it could be KDA, Jazz, and Big Shot all getting the value from this.
And I think because of the Misfortune headliner, it almost clearly indicates he's not going to be playing a reroll. I think it's enough tempo to just bypass level 6, bypass level 70, which is really where you struggle and start losing too much HP, go straight to 8 with that vertical KDA, find maybe the Ahri, the Akali, the Ahri Warrior setup, and then play around that for a top 4, which is all Scapeus really needs. Is at 59 points right now.
Well, let's take a look at our two Heartsteel players up against each other in this round. Jijisaw, could have been slamming in the Heartsteel element, but I think with the raise of stakes, he's playing things out a little bit more cautiously. Wants to make sure there's no way of winning this round, but actually, I think going to make out of this with a couple of unit kills, maybe one less than he would have liked.
David, I'm curious, do you think this will be a double raise, try and go to 5 Heartsteel with the Spatula? He still hasn't been able to find a belt to actually make that happen, and I don't know how risky Jedisor actually wants to play, right? One single Heartsteel cash out could be fine, and actually there is a belt, so if he finds that 5th Heartsteel, could actually play for it, and we even see him rolling here on 3-3.
He's trying to roll for it,
Yeah.
and I think he needs maybe all 16 points in the next 2 games, so maybe he needs to
That
take
might be the play.
absolutely massive risk to try and find a guaranteed first tier. But in a lobby like this one where you think and you see players with the Spatula starts, if they find a second Spatula, they could also contest for a first with things like 10 KDA for Scapeus, who's playing a tempo game plan.
Absolutely. Jijisaw is one of those players who's going all in this game, so we expect to see something extreme out of his board. Eggy on the other side, though, the pentakill in place, the KL in place as well, with the double Gwyn's, who's thanks to the super fans. Board looking pretty strong.
Yeah, Iggy also just using this adaptive helm in the mid game as an additional item for the Kale just to give even more power. Can pop it off later with Superfan and find something even better.
The win streak finally broken for Scapeus. Look at the HP differential here because of that stage 2 star where only 2 players had good combat strength augments. Scapeus on 90 HP, Qingtan still on 100 HP with the Silver Spoon start.
Yeah, and Qingtan's still holding 3 items on the bench, right? Including a spatula, of course, but hasn't fully committed to direction and having all this tempo, plus everyone else is going to commit, and it will open up Qingtan to just decide whatever comp they want to go for.
Well, speaking of unslammed spatulas, Cheche, Jijisaw, and Mai down the bottom all has also not slammed their spatulas in. All are on the lowest HP in the lobby.
And Cheche just picked up a cloak, which is not something you usually do unless you're trying to angle for Riven. Cloak is usually seen as the least valuable component in most metas. That could be the case now. Jedizor does cash out in the end. He thinks that is going to be enough and finds Cleaver here. Will that be strong enough with the early Zed pickup? He's level 7, 30 gold. Has the Ezreal as well here.
Ooh.
But no belt for the Heartsteel emblem if that's what he was looking for. But wow, what a
No,
shot.
he's got it on.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's been here the whole time, just hiding in plain sight.
So I think he's kind of staying away from it. He might play 5 Heartsteel, try and win with it, right? Because he's found some of these 4 costs he's really looking for.
Oh, wait a second, there we go.
On 7.
It's 7 Heartsteel.
7 Heartsteel is what he wanted.
Oh,
All
my
right.
goodness.
This is what we came here for. We want to see something off the charts good. Jijisaw, quietly pleased with the turn he's just taken.
He might be able to itemize everything too, because Stimpak coming through and still getting more items from Heartsteel, he's going to be able to have a massively strong late game board. Really well done to play for first, but the question is can he be stable enough on stage 3 and stage 4 at this level 7 since he's rolled down so much?
And Vampirism as well. We're looking on the opposite side. Mai does have the 8-bit emblem slam, so committing to that Riven line with a Hull Crusher pickup.
Yeah, we can see the Aphelios will take a little bit of a bite out, but not enough. Mai starting to drop down into pretty dangerous territory, 36 HP. While Cheche's in a similar spot, it may still not be enough board strength right now.
Mai going to go for the 9 loss streak into massive roll down on 4-1. Try and just spike the Riven 3 immediately. Racing with Cheche, and I don't know if Cheche even has ended up pushing for that, so it's going to be a race to Riven 3.
I think most of this setup from Mai was hoping for the Banshee's Veil off of the Laden Forge. Didn't find it in the end, finds a ZZ Rod, so we'll see if that affects really the outcome of this Riven board and if he's able to cook it up, because it doesn't really have Riven items right now, has just that open sparring glove for the QSS potentially. Yeah,
we'll keep an eye, like as you said, for the contesting here. Cheche, I believe, has gone down more of a Yone-centric route, but we'll see how it works out long term. 0-8 with the Heartsteel and the Last Stand still very healthy. We've certainly seen a pattern of players with Last Stand managing to stay healthy long into the game.
And Cheche is on 13 gold, level 7, so I think he's rolled down heavily. I'm not sure he's hit much of anything. If he was trying to contest this Riven line, that's a risky play that might have backfired for a player who was in contention to make top 8 still if he had a big result in his game 5.
It looks like he fully sent it trying to beat Mai. He knew that it was going to have to be a race, and he just couldn't get there. And now we've got Mai going for the big roll down, trying to find the
This is going to be absolutely massive. Again, remember, we've got players in this game who absolutely have to get the big result in. My Cheche are both getting in as Cheche gets the 2-star in place. My still with the 2 1-star ribbons.
Yeah, and I believe I saw Cheche did have 2 1-star ribbons on his board at one point, so I think that's the natural one headliner still available. This race is going to be very close, but Mai has a ton more gold to get there with 59 gold in the bank.
40 more gold than Cheche. Cheche has not already hit. He's going to be in big, big trouble. We'll see the roll down coming through. The Yone has been picked up right now. The side-by-side roll down for Yugo on the left and Mai on the right. Mai, of course, is looking for the 8-bit ribbon specifically. He has the emblem already. If you can find all of this, there's the Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, big hit.
Potentially hit 6 8-bit as early as 4-1. An early allow is big, but not exactly what he needs.
No, maybe would have been even willing to accept that Garen at 8-bit was just Sentinel instead. Roll slowing down. The center 3 does hit on the left-hand side of the board, but it looks like Riven Town is too contested. We've got 2 2-stars for Cheche. Mai settling for just 2 1-stars.
That probably hurt the chances quite a bit. Cheche did actually find the headliner, so Cheche actually on 6 ribbons, and even though he is flat broke, it's reduced the amount that Mai can actually try and find. There's a lot of them pulled out of the pool already.
Oh boy, this is going to really hurt longer term. Certainly, Cheche, you've got a chance to move forward if you can. The heart steals, of course, across the board, ticking away as our players build up extra power. The last one coming in, it will be gold.
I wonder if Mai potentially pivots his game plan into a Caitlyn carry board instead, had the Alawi on the bench, could maybe go 8 and play more around the 4 and 5 cost, and give up the plan of going for Riven 3 if he knows he's going to be heavily contested by the Argentinian player.
Teaming up, grabbed by Cheche, actually finds the Zeeks. I think is very, very good for the Riven line. If he's able to actually hit, though, it's going to be really tough to find that. Looking for as high of a cap as possible. As we see, Egi actually finds metalheads to go alongside with this Kale board.
That's going to be absolutely huge. Of course, we noted before, we've got the items in place. You noted, of course, Superfan just trying to pour out as much power for Eggy in the early going. Is on 49 tournament points at the moment, so just needs these good finishes out of these last 2 games to get him into day 3.
And Eggy's still on 2 duplicators, so just has to find 2 more Kales and he's there.
Jeduzor, 300 hearts have been stacked up, 7 hearts still online, items on the Zed, items on the Ezreal as well. As you mentioned, Casanova, he had the stim pack, has a chance to itemize all these different great forecasts he found so early on to the game. But look at Qingtian with a Caitlyn already, fully itemized as well, trying to break through here. Win or loss, I think it's a good result regardless for Jeduzor considering his health.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the Akali, right? That's the big problem at this point. Qingtian on 4-2, able to go to 8, find a 4 cost. 500. Missing 500, definitely rough here. We'll see what Jeduzor ends up finding, because the Tome catch-up from Degree in the previous game was actually pretty rough, and the fact that he was able to stabilize there was insane. So Jeduzor hoping for a positive outcome.
Yeah, you can see Jeduzor thinking deeply.
So much gold.
That's a lot of money and a champion duplicator. Going to cash in that money straight away to move up levels and try and find something big to swing this one around.
Can find one more Kiana, just to count it 2 out of nowhere can be nice, but there's the Ezreal with the big shot as a potential option for backline. Frontline still soft, though. That's what he needs to find at this point on this roll down. He found a single Poppy, but Zac 2, Alawi, these are the things that need to be found for Jeduzor to actually stabilize the spot.
Yone upgrade just barely coming in there. Has to slam these items, especially the Crown Guard, which needs to be in before the fight begins. There it is.
There it is.
Set
That is Asian.
items onto the Ezreal. Can this do enough here around this stage 4? We're at 10 gold only level 8 for Jeduzor to claw back up in the HP standings.
He's up against Scipeus here, the other Mia player, who's put together a fascinating looking board here. The KDA Ezreal, but Jeduzor's gone strong enough.
Yeah, there's an argument here as well with this duplicator to potentially use it on a 4 cost for Jeduzor. He just needs to actually get this front line going. He has the pair of Zacs, but he does have this initial carousel to see if he can find more, maybe 1 more roll down, and then just duplicate whatever's left.
Mai picks up a Riven on the carousel because he was prio over Cheche. He had that first pick. Cheche picks up a glove, but can't find those natural copies of Riven. For Scipeus, we saw how easily he adapts. He finds an Ezreal headliner and says, yep, good enough to hold this KDA emblem. Like, it allows me to push levels to 8 and then to 9 because of his health. 80 HP still for Scipeus.
All right, coming into the back half of stage 4. Do notice Qingtian up at the top with the spatula still available in inventory and on the win streak, along with Yugol has a streak of his own. It's only ZUA down at the bottom who's keeping his own loss streak intact. Everybody else is starting to look a little bit cash-strapped.
Yeah, looking at Iggy, here's the roll down trying to find this Kale finally. Ends up getting one more copy. There's
Whoa.
the last one. 2 rolls, find both. Has the duplicator to get it done. And also picking up a Yorick along the way on 7. The best possible thing he could have hit.
Very nice.
Actually, it's a pair.
A silver lining, though, considering that we are level 7, is going to be very rare to hit the actual upgrade on level 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So it'll be gold you're holding on your bench for a very long time, and we don't see a carousel until the next one at stage 5.
All right, Eggy from SEA has definitely been impressing us so far this competition up against Skipeas' board made of dreams. Doesn't unfortunately have the Ezreal turn to the right target quite quick enough,
But it gets
does
there.
punch through.
That's the
Gets
difference of
tail
not
three.
having Gunblade, right? Gunblade would have made it so Kayle would be full health. That one cast from Ezreal would not get it done. And I think that still Eggy is going to try and get there, right? Still using the super fans, can pop off the items.
Cash out here for ZUE, who needs something big. A tome is not going to be big enough, considering he's on 6 HP.
It's so bad.
He was first place in game number 4. He's trying to fight for that first place again with Last Stand potentially proccing soon and potentially putting him back into the game. Mai also took a loss. If Mai gets defeated here in the next few rounds, this opens up those ribbons for Cheche to maybe find a few wins himself.
It doesn't feel as, go back to ZUE here, it doesn't feel like there's enough time for another Heartsteel cash out, so I think we're going to have to start changing what we're doing.
Well, I think with the double Heartsteel emblem now, you still keep it in and you just get win streak cash outs to try and finish finding extra components as he goes up against Cheche. This could just be Cheche's last life. He actually only has the 2-star Riven fighting up against the Zed. Immediately, though, they go onto each other and Riven comes out on top.
Yes, she's able to dance through the backline and accesses the carries, accessing all areas. It will be the hit.
The last
That's one
hand
down.
proc, the loss, does it come through
And
for Mai?
two
It
down.
does. Cheche now has the market open to himself. The Riven's back in his shop. He doesn't have much gold to work with, though. Only 2, and he's still 2 Ribbons off here. It's going to be tough. Cheche has to really work on his positioning and hope for a big gold rejuice in the PvE round.
Yeah, if he can find enough gold to get there, 2 copies. We saw 2 rolls, 2 Kales for Eggy earlier. Maybe Cheche can find the same now that they've all gone back into the pool. If he can hit, this is still fairly winnable. You look at the augments, Martyr is still at least a good combat augment. Having the ability to get the Zeeks is also massive. And he's been stacking up this 8-bit pretty much the entire game.
That being said, he needs to hit everything. The Viego 2, the Caitlyn 2, and the Riven 3 ideally in just 20 gold is going to be very difficult. We'll see what he can do.
Well, the gold's already pretty much run out, and it does not look like Cheche.
Viego.
Okay, that's something. Here's the 8-bit
There's the
Viego
Caitlyn.
and the Caitlyn. All right, it's not a 3-star Riven, but it will have to do.
He's facing Eggy, Ugol, and Skipeas in his matchup pool. We've seen how strong Skipeas is. Going to be difficult here. The Giant Slayer onto the Viego.
Yeah, you go on that 6 streak as well. Going to be probably the one you want to dodge. Eggy's still looking for a lot of upgrades.
Cheche looking to hold on and try and get himself through
Skipeas.
this point. Cheche needs a high placement in this game to have any chance of making day number 3. Fighting over the right-hand side of the screen. ZUE over the left-hand side, of course. With the last stand kicked in, this could be huge for the final standings of the lobby.
No QSS with the Riven. Choose through the Ahri. Now she has the Poppy, and this Poppy is very tanky. The
Oh.
KDA emblem giving her so much HP.
ZUE is
the
going
Riven
down.
Can't quite do it. The Caitlyn shots come through.
ZUE is
Doesn't
going
help
down.
out. It's Caitlyn versus Poppy.
Cheche!
Poppy cannot 1v2
One more
here.
shot.
Oh, the Caitlyn's going to be taken down.
No.
And Cheche's dreams, Argentina's dreams, Isudus Gaming's dreams, unfortunately end here in this game number 5.
And ZUE dropping as well. You said at 51 points, just needed 2 pretty solid games to make it there. But a 7th is going to make it incredibly difficult for that final game for ZUE.
Not impossible.
Not impossible.
53
Not
points
impossible.
definitely still puts him in contention.
And also it opens up a lot more space for other people to potentially leapfrog and grab hold of those 8 spaces where otherwise it may have previously been out of reach. Jedusor, though, is trying to reach for the stars here. He's got the 4 big shot in place. We've got the Ezreal up and itemize. We'll see if it's good enough to take down Skipeas' board.
He's got all his damage stacked on the left side, but the Poppy is there to meet it. Going to be very difficult to chew through that initially. The Zed is still getting through. On the other side, it is just the Seraphine too, so the damage is a bit low for the side of Skipeas. His front line being the big carry in these fights, but can't get through the rest of the backline for Jedusor, and he has really put together an incredibly powerful board, and it is scaled into the late game with that Vampirism.
And all of a sudden, big upgrades in that shop as well. And Alawi has found the Zac 2 especially. And the headliner Ezreal, the big shot paired with the Jhin now, could maybe look at a fairly high cap for a 5-win streak. Jedusor was trying to, again, like Cheche, claw his way back into that top 8. Whereas Skipeas, a roll down coming through. The RE1 still is not really ideal here.
I definitely can share your concerns, Cass, here about the damage on the board. We've got split items between our 2 carries. And yeah, the Ari not up to 2-star either. It feels like Poppy's being asked to pull a lot of weight in this comp.
I mean, the damage is an issue, but Scapeus has held on to so much HP. He might be able to still squeeze into a top 4 regardless, but he is going up against a true damage Ari with the Senna. This is going to just rip through his front line.
And we're starting to understand why the Aris cannot be found. 3 on the side of Ugol, a Senna 3 as well. The Echo, the Poppy taken down, the face-off between the Ari and the Seraphine, and the Senna and the Ari. In the end, it should be a big win for the true damage player who's on an 8-win streak right now, dominating this stage 4 and 5.
Yeah, you got looking real good here. But I do take your point about Scapeus, of course. He is pretty much in it to day 3. Just
KDA Emblem.
KDA Emblem will be a big push forward in power. We've also got the 8-bit Emblem in play as well.
Jedusor considering if he has to deny this to try and actually get the win here because he needs it. He's at 45 points right now, needs essentially 2 first places to try and make top 8. So maybe not the best for his comp, but still good to deny Scapeus that.
It hurts a bit, but he bought himself a buffer with the stim pack, with the Heartsteel being on so long. He's got a lot of extra items. He has the ability to deny that, and as you said, he kind of has to, because this gives an opportunity for Scapeus to go 10 KDA and actually just bully him out of the game.
Looking at the rest of the players in the lobby, we've got the real sandwich developing here between Ugol and Jed. You saw the 2 win streaks at the bottom, as Scapeus will find something finally to come through and give a little bit more power.
Yeah, it looks like he was deciding if he actually wanted that KDA Akali or not. Because of the fact that he didn't get the second emblem, there's consideration that, hey, it's just not even worth it. I'm not going 10 KDA, and my Poppy is actually anchoring my front line so incredibly.
Now the big test for Jedusor, the 2 big win streakers facing off, and it could be the most important fight of the tournament for the French player. The 6th win streak, the Ezreal, the Zed, trying to chew through the right side of the board. The Ezreal cast comes through. The front lane is still not deleted. The Senna and the Ari onto the Zed, but the Zed is too powerful. The Edge of Night, the aggro drop, the big win for Jedusor, who needs it. He's at 20 HP, 2 losses, and he'd be out.
Able to take down the Ghost. I'm interested to see the real fight. It wasn't that close, so I feel like Jedusor's actually got a very good chance into this Senna board, but it does remain to be seen as Eggy now has fallen quite low, not able to find this Mordekaiser 3.
No, I mean, we've got the KO with the triple Rage Blade at the back there for a lot of late round power, but I do agree. I don't think the front line is there quite enough to let it to scale to full potential.
Well, and you also just need the Gunblade. If your front line is already going to be a little weaker because there's not 3-star, you need that healing even more if you're going to stay alive. And Ginsu, triple Ginsu, I mean, that scales, but if you don't have a front line, how are you even going to scale?
That's when you're down in combat augment with the team building that came through, and you can't even find really the cap in terms of the 3-stars. The Mordekaiser are still at 2-star right now. Playing against the other Pentakill player in this lobby, the Ari Pentakill, which we don't see very often. The Viego jumping in, buying some time, doing some damage with the Kayle, still ramping up, and the Karthus does not have enough damage to actually kill her off.
Big win for Eggy, able to hold on a little bit longer as we see Scapeus is just fighting up against Eggy's Ghost. Going to be able to find that one. This Poppy's doing work. I mean, KDA Poppy, we know that this unit is a beast, and she actually scales really well off of health, so 7 KDA gives an immense amount of health to this unit, and it just makes her do more damage, heal more. She just does everything for her. Actually, KDA Poppy, the more I think about it, the more like, this guy's just cooking. This is sick.
I think my new main. This is the best KDA holder in the game.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
In the 4-cost race especially, in terms of stabilizing your stage 4 and 5 and allowing to go 9 to chase that 10 KDA. But the RE2 is still missing, which is the big one. We have the big upgrade for Eggy. Maybe not the one he wanted, but one that he definitely needs, the Yorick 2 potentially coming through here.
Yeah, needs, must. Oh boy, we're certainly coming down to the end of the line here. For our players, again, this is the penultimate game of the group stage. We're trying to find out who gets into the top 8. Tooth and Claw trying to fight their way back up, especially for players like Jedusor in this lobby. They need that first place finish. They need every point they can grab.
Yeah, Ugol actually finally took a loss. I'm curious if Jedusor actually played the real version this time around as we look through. Scapeus and Eggy were the other 2 that found wins, but Scapeus we did see beat, it looked like Eggy's clone. So it's going to be very, very tough for Eggy to stay alive here. We'll see if there was a big enough upgrade.
Double duplicate onto the Seraphine, but actually the last Seraphine or the last Ari item here. He did hit the Seraphine upgrade instead, but looking now at Eggy, who is on his last life and has a chance, of course, to get into the top 8 still with 49 points coming into this game. Number 5, the Yorick now fully itemized, trying to help buy time for the triple Rage Blade Kayle. You can't scale more than this Kayle, but the Zed is half health. He's already onto the Kayle. Can the Kayle out DPS the Zed? She cannot.
Nah, but Yorick's there.
Yorick cleans up, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. The secondary stepping in and making a mess out of everything. Incredibly hard to put down. as you go, will take the L there against the newly upgraded Scapeus board. Cass, we were looking to see where that Giant Slayer would end up going. It went onto the Seraphine.
Yeah, Seraphine, you've got the 3-star. Makes sense to me. Qingqian with the very creative board as well, playing that pentakill Ahri, but it seems like it has kind of lost its luster as we've gotten late in the game. 6 loss streak. Qingqian really trying to hold on at this point, but 38 points anyway. Just trying to play for pride and some extra placements, some extra cash.
Good news for EMEA. Jedusor still on a win streak, 9 win streak, and for Scapeus, a 3 win streak coming into the middle part of this stage 6.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to the next game, or last game of the day, especially we'll have more players secure in a spot. Scapeus is about as close as you can get without being fully across the line. You can see the power of the board has been put in place to bring it all together right now. Taking out Qingqian would be absolutely massive, but the Carthus is getting a lot of time to scale up for the fight.
Yeah, that Ghoul's actually almost going to take down the Seraphine, and it sets up for the Carthus to finish the job, and now it's just down to the Poppy.
How good is she?
1v9, one-woman army, but she can't get it done against the rest of this board. Scapeus is going to lose, breaks his streak, but still held on to the highest HP in the lobbies.
And Eggy with a 5th year puts himself in the same exact spot as Jiwei, 53 points coming into the last game, trying to fight for the pride of SEA as their last hero left alive in contention for that top 8.
It's been hugely contested at the top of the table. We don't know for certain what that cutoff's going to be yet with everyone so closely adhering. But down to our final selection here. Scapeus definitely stepped up and ahead, but Jedusor, I'm so impressed he's kept going for this long.
Not just that, but he has 63 gold right now. He's waiting for the level 10 spike because he knows he has 2 lives still at 20 HP. I love this risky play. He knows he needs a big win.
Yeah, Jedusor just trying to stay alive throughout this as we see this fight not even close.
Wow.
True damage, nuking pentakill, not even close at all.
You were praising before the true damage. Ahri
It's so strong.
Just ripped through that ball like it wasn't even there.
Is this the win for Jedusor? It's the big question. If it is, that buys him time to go 10 while still being on 2 lives, and that's going to be the case. A massive carousel round coming up here. A spatula on the Alawi, a Kiana with a cloak, but not full items built. What does Scapeus want here?
Yeah, does not have the ability to play around the spatula and actually get that KDA online. Can't even find the levels for it. Jedusor just going to grab a flexible item there. Be able to play it either front line or back. Really, we got to watch Jedusor, right? He needs this first. Puts him in a position where qualifying for top 8 is very realistic. Just needs a second high placement after that, being at 45 points. That first place pushes him to 53, and 60 is our approximated striking.
And your goal is mathematically out. Scapeus is mathematically in. It's all about Jedusor trying to claw his way into that first place position with an incredibly capped board, an 11 win streak, level 10. Pretty much all relevant legendaries in the game are on his board, but they're not upgraded yet. He needs to find the Yorick 2, the Jin 2, the Ziggs 2 especially, if he wants to guarantee this win.
Now, your goal may be able to play some spoiler here. Goes up against Scapeus. Of course, if you get the win here, knocks Scapeus down and out. It would free up the space for Jedusor to get one step closer to that big win. That Poppy right in the center absorbing a ton of damage, but the Ahri is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, when you're anchored on a single frontliner, true damage just eats you alive. It doesn't care about the resistances you've stacked up on this Poppy. Usually HP is a good way to try and deal with it, but no, this Ahri does just far too much damage. And now Yugol is the only one who stands in the way of Jedusor finding that first and getting as close as possible to that juicy top 8.
And this is no surprise. The win streakers at the end of stage 5 are the 2 last players left alive. Their combat strength was evident when it comes to that Senate 3, upgraded into the Ahri true damage, into the Akali as well. That 3-prong attack with Kiana, farming components throughout these last 2 stages. Jedusor, we saw it. He raised the stakes. He risked it all for the biggest reward possible, and he found it.
Oh boy, Jedusor with the headline illusion in place there as well. This board has been growing stronger and stronger over time. We'll see if the Lucian's be able to keep himself out of trouble. We have got the Jin over in the other corner as well. The Crossfire should be able to cut through a lot of the central board.
Yeah, Zed getting stuck on the Echo pretty much the entire fight, not actually able to get anything done. But now the Crowd Diver stun onto the Senna is going to slow down the damage. It's going to leave time for Jin to try and win this. Zig's going to tank up the hit. And Jin gets to go all the way. The body block from Ziggs, protecting his teammate.
He's the #1 tank.
Ziggs stepped up literally when it mattered
Quite
most.
literally.
Because that made it so that the AoE damage from Senna would not kill both the Jhin and the Ziggs if it landed. Crucial fight there, and I think this is where Senna starts to suffer, when there are so many different targets you have to chew through one by one, and so many different clumps across the entirety of the board. She cannot melt everything as quickly as we've seen earlier in Stage 4.
I don't think I've ever seen higher value out of a crowd diver jump than stopping that Senna in her tracks while the backline stayed alive and was able to push forward there. Massive for the side of Jettison.
Last bit of gold here is going to be relevant for that Jhin to upgrade to one of the bigger damage dealers on the board here for Jettison. 13 win streak, finds the Yorick here as well, but it's all going to be about this Jhin.
Boy, we've got the item to come in for the third item available.
There it is!
All right.
We found it!
Last item, you don't have mana generation, unfortunately. You do have the adaptive helmet at the very least. Going to go on the Lucian Headliner instead.
Blue buff being switched.
I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Still playing around two very heavily itemized carries. They're completely split. Senna never going to be able to hit them both.
We were pointing out before, the front line isn't fantastic, but the back line is unbelievable. The crossfire will start again. Hopefully this time Ziggs knows exactly where to stand to get in the way of the big shots. Keep your eyes on when that Senna damage is coming
Zed!
through. As Zed gets into the back line.
There's the Edge of Night. It popped. He takes down the Ari, and now he's on the Senna.
He did it!
Able to find his first place and set him up for success in Game 6.
The golden